Okay, so I have my dough. Now, mine's probably smaller than yours if you're making a full loaf since I'm making a smaller loaf, but same principle. This is a nice soft dough. I feel like it feels really nice. Mine's not sticky, so I'm not using any extra flour. If you do find yours is sticking to your hands or to your surface, make sure that you flour it a little bit. The other thing is always make sure your surface is really clean before you get started. You don't want to pick it up and have, I don't know, whatever was on your counter before. All right, so what I'm doing, just kind of like Play-Doh, I want to shape this into a bit of a rectangular shape. We do want to roll this out a little bit thinner and longer. It's going to help us roll and have more of a spiral once we're finished than if you did more of a square shape. All right, so I'm just taking my rolling pin, and if you're a person that enjoys or enjoyed Play-Doh when you were younger, then this will come in handy because this is very much like working with Play-Doh. All right, so I'm just going to roll it towards me, away from me, and I'm going to go side to side once. All right, we really want to do that kind of really even pressure. Rolling, and maybe one more time. All right, and then I'm also going to kind of take my corners, just stretch it a little bit, right through here, since it's get a little bit more of a rectangle shape. All right, so if you didn't get that right the first time, you can even pause the video and kind of squish it back together and do it again. It's okay. It's all right if it wasn't perfect the first time. I'm pretty happy with mine. So I'm going to add the egg wash to it now. All right, so I'm just going to dip. I've got a pastry brush. It's probably the easiest way to do this. You could use like the back of a fork or maybe a spatula. It wouldn't be quite as easy, but you can make it work. We just want a really thin layer on here. So, nice. This is fun. It's a fun step. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is take my cinnamon sugar and I'm going to add it. I'm just going to sprinkle it on. It's probably good. And I'm just going to take my hands and, ooh, that smells so good. I love the way cinnamon smells. Cinnamon sugar bread. It's just such a great combo. This bread is really good just by itself, but it's really good toasted with a little butter on it, like the next day. When you get your bread out of the oven, make sure you do not try to cut it right away. You never want to do that with homemade bread. It's so enticing because it's warm and it smells amazing, but actually you'll squish it and it actually will make it like completely change the texture inside and ruin the bread. Unless it's a bread that's made to be cut when it's hot. I've never made a bread that you were supposed to, so maybe that's out there, but most of the time you need to wait till it cools. And so if you want to eat it warm, and this is kind of sad, you have to like cool it all the way down and then maybe toast it if you want to eat it warm. You really don't want to cut it when it's still cooling. It almost makes it taste, or like the texture, it's almost like it's raw inside. It's not, but it just like smooshes it down, and it's gross. Okay, so now I have my cinnamon sugar and I really try to get it as much as I can, you know, kind of to the edges, at the tops and bottom and the sides. Now I'm just going to roll this. We're going to do a little stretching and rolling. You can kind of pretend like you are rolling a sleeping bag, maybe a little bit like that. So I'm just taking my thumbs and I'm turning it like this. And then I'm just going to kind of pull it. Just a little stretching, okay? A little stretching and pulling. Every once in a while you want to kind of tuck the sides a little bit. And then I'm about halfway through. I'm going to take the sides out here. I'm going to stretch them out just a little bit. Go. I'm just going to keep rolling. Got a nice tight spiral. This is very similar to what you do when you make cinnamon rolls, because you would roll it like this, and then for a cinnamon roll you would chop it. But since we're doing a cinnamon swirl bread, we're not doing any chopping. Okay, I'm kind of just smushing the sides down, pulling out the outer and like smushing the inner, just to kind of, and then I'm going to sort of tuck it over a little bit. I'm going to roll it all the way so that's nice and tight. Okay, and now I'm just going to plop that into my pan. What you want to do now is cover it and let it sit on your counter for a good 45 minutes to an hour. It depends a little bit on how warm your oven is. You want it to get bigger, and then you're going to be putting it in your oven, and baking it. Remember what I said, try not to cut it until it's completely cool. It won't taste as good if not. When it is finished, you want to look for two things. Tapping on the top, it should sound hollow inside. And the other thing is, if you do have a thermometer, you can take the internal temperature. You want it to be about 200 degrees for it to be cooked on the inside. So those are the two things. It should be like nice and goldenish on the top as well. Okay, so that's what you're looking for. Good luck. I think you're really going to enjoy it, and I hope you had fun making it. Bye.